That being said, you are soon greeted with more of a back alley entrance, but it's wide enough to fit, well, 2 police cars and people in relative gear. There's only 2 cops there right now, but they seem to have everything on lockdown with their SWAT-like gear and large shields.
I'm gonna step up to the cops and present my ID. Good day, officers. My name is Aiden Pendragon. Some of my boys were on duty when, well, this happened. Do you mind if we ask a few questions and look around?
One of them looks towards the other, and then you just see him bow his head for a second, put his hand up to his ear as if he's communicating with somebody. If you want to ask questions or join in on the investigation, I suggest you go to the investigator.
Where can I find them?
He gestures just around the corner for a sec, like around the side corner, opposite of where you guys came from. And you do see a figure there smoking.
Thank you. I'm gonna give him a light note and head towards the investigator.
Alright. What do you say as you come up to the investigator?
Good day, investigator. Name's Aiden Pendragon. I'm the leader of Zero Risk Security. My boys were on duty when the accident happened. I was hoping I could get in on this investigation.
And as you do that, you hear there is a light like any other, rain falling from the sky. A young man comes up to the old beaten cop. Old, barely working. He asks him a few questions, and all he could say in response is, "Well, I have heard of you, and I could use the help." And he turns around towards you, and you do see that it's a sort of SRO. And you may know him, this basic information.
Does he have a smiley face scratched into his helmet?
Yes, that is his face, actually. Since he's an SRO, he's a robot, so he scratched a smiley face onto himself.
Aiden just says, good day to you, Mo. So you got stuck with this job, huh?
Of course. The detective knew who Aiden was, and he knew who he was. And he always gets stuck with his jobs.
Of course. And Aiden knew that as soon as he met this detective, it was gonna be a bad day for investigating. They really wish they would fix his cortex so he would stop talking in third person like this is some kind of movie or an action flick. The real life ain't a game, damn it.
Kuzon's confused!
Did Kuzon just shout that from between
He's still drunk.
Gotta say, the lad has spunk.
Yeah, he's a bit tipsy. Don't worry about him.
Like a raging storm in this rain.
No, seriously, you have to stop that. I'm telling you, I had a look into you and apparently everything should be fine with your circuits. The fact that you're doing this has to be on purpose, goddammit.
You see him bring a cigarette up to his, well, you could say intake near his mouth, and it like goes in one side and exits out the other as he just looks at you.
Aiden just gives up. So,
You gotta rust out your insides doing that. Not good for you.
Well, the little lad's advice was sound. The detective didn't mind exactly what was going to happen to his insides.
Is this guy serious?
Risky job being a private investigator. You never know who's gonna come bump into the night, especially in the spike. Anyway, what can you tell us about these gangbangers that got banged?
The detective knew his unique sense of talking may get on the newcomer's nerves. After all, not many worked with him on such cases, so he just sent it to their PDAs. And with that, you hear each of your phones bing, 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 bing in turn.
Aiden's gonna quickly run through the PDF info so he can get familiarized with the clues and details.
Like an unlocked vault, your phones lack security. So, basically, as the information is sent to your phones, you do know that they have already taken away the bodies, of course. They couldn't leave them there for a few days.
Sure.
But they've already run analysis, and due to the presence of some sort of magical interference, they couldn't use magic to exactly determine, like, place the scene as it was before. So they've had to use technology means to make a recreation on inside. And also, Mo was hired by security to handle this situation.
So, let's talk motives. Considering the kind of business this gang has been into, I'm assuming they had a lot of enemies, a lot of people would want them gone. But how many of their enemies would have the funds to organize something like this?
One moment, sorry, someone's talking to me. Right. Well, the lad had a lead, but it was under this detective's prerogative that it wasn't another group. Single person.
You're telling me one person can go in and wipe the entire group just like that?
Impossible? No. Improbable? Yes. Matches a string of murders that have been going on all week, like a daisy train of bad events.
Anything that connects the victims?
Lowlives. Downtrodden. Those kind of people that you don't see in normal society. Ones that Mo protects.
Ah, I see. So we've got ourselves a vigilante, huh?
While the kid had a good lead on it, that possibility sound less and less likely, especially when you look back at old cases. After all, he doubts a snitching night worker would exactly be the target for vigilantism, unless extremely unhinged, like a broken door.
This guy seems to be careful, he's covering his tracks a lot. Doesn't really leave much to work with. One thing though, he does exceptional work, I'll give him that. But from what I was told, some of the victims were crushed. That indicates a great use of force. The fact that they couldn't react means magic. Seems to be versed in quite a few fields.
He had a sharp eye on him. He would have been made a good detective.
I'm gonna look towards the rest of the party. What about you guys? Anything sprung in your mind as suspicious about this case?
So he gave us information to our communicators. Is there like any cameras or anything that overlook this street in this part of town?
Due to the spike's nature, the cameras are not exactly situated everywhere, but there was one on the alleyway, like just outside the alleyway, a shop camera just down the street. Seemed like it caught a figure walking into the alleyway, but, well, they were cloaked, completely head to toe.
I'm just gonna following the recording. Like, I'm gonna try to find where the camera is and just like trace the steps of wherever that cloaked figure went.
From the footage, can we tell around what time the incident took place? Maybe there were a few workers around the area, you know. This is kind of that type of place. Maybe somebody saw something.
As Kuzon tracks the area, you can probably tell that the time during when this was taken, especially since it's more than likely on the camera footage itself, is that it's pretty late at night. On Friday evening.
Target must have done his homework if he managed to catch the entire gang in one place.
The detective looks towards you and gives you a nod. Of course, the kid was right. You would have had to know the ins and outs. Many go out on the weekend to enjoy the life and luxury of other spheres. This gang was not that well known, but they knew they had to party during Friday night.
Was something stolen from their possessions?
According to the data pad, nothing was stolen.
Oh, it's clear
Does
what...
the data pad say anything was taken for evidence?
Many of the bodies and what was on the bodies. However, that has been catalogued and is recreated the scene in the actual scene of
Okay.
signed crime.
So is it kind of like an alternate reality thing that is how is how this works? Where like I pull up my device and it shows the scene or whatever?
Generally, you
Oh yeah,
are
do we
able to
have
ask for
Batman-like
access
vision?
from Joe.
Do we have some Batman technology where we can recreate the scene of the crime?
Well, essentially, that's how it was laid out. Like they put bodies and stuff, and in recreation and technology. But one of you guys have to have some sort of technology-enabled goggles to be able to see this.
Gotcha.
Of course, Mo is probably willing to share something he has.
I have infrared goggles if they could be repurposed for that.
Honestly, I would say that you would also count, like with your implant, you could probably see it anyway.
It'll be put it right in my brain.
Yeah, it's right in your brains. So you
That
can just see
reminds
it right
me.
in your brain.
Thiveron, since you've got a good nose and all, do you pick up something in the area? Maybe some kind of smell of plasma or anything else that might be unnatural? We're still not 100% sure how exactly all of them died. There's no way he would crush 20 people to death. He had to have used something.
I will check.
Mo turns towards you, Tyrion, before you
I
start
will
sniffing.
keep it low.
Oh, that's right. But yeah, like before you start sniffing, he says you're sniffing, but you can't really catch anything, and Mo points towards the scene of crime with a vein that cleanses the streets.
I imagine like
dawn
I hear like his hand pointing in some direction, and I point to
doesn't know
my
you're
eyes. Yeah, I'm like, you might have to, you got to do better than pointing.
He does speak of his size. Like a new dawn on a horrible night. The rain washes away many that you may find. The scene, fresh, barely touched.
Thiveron thinking that was a little cryptic for him, just trying to say, "Hey, the crime scene's over there."
He's been talking like a
he
the
doesn't do
entire
it too much.
time.
Aiden does the elven face from Goblin Slayer and says, "You get used to it."
Like I said, Thiveron doesn't like really pay too much attention to it, and he walks over to the crime scene just to see if he can sense anything else.
If you want, you can make a roll now, like a different roll, because it is in a totally different area.
Okay, that's more like it.
As you go in, you do smell, well, gunfire, but it's mainly from the locations where it seems like there's impacts. Because as you walk in, you see the door has been crushed and indented and blown out across the floor. You see blood marks across the walls, and where pipes seemingly unnaturally bent forwards. The impact on it has clearly left a body of some kind. Well, it's no longer there, but the imprint is there, and you can smell it still, the blood. But you can smell gunfire, as I mentioned before, but it's very much not on the side you're on, but further in, probably indicating they were once fired.
Inspect the door. Can I like try to get? Is there like a check I could make? Try to see if I can figure out how it was, like how they busted it open. Like, was it like a piece? Like, was it an explosive or was it something?
May roll, I would say, roll engineering to check on the door to see like how it was broken. And Tyrion, what were you saying before?
I was gonna say Thiveron is gonna ask Talavet to tell him a story. He wants to know if there's anything magical at play here.
So you're asking your god, are you?
Yeah.
Is there any role for that, or are you simply just praying to your
Mysticism?
god? Yes.
I guess I was just trying to like kind of role play how he would.
Oh, if you're simply if you're role playing and asking, then you put. I'll make a roll myself. 1 second. Okay, right. I'll do that in a second. As Kuzon's checking the door, you see that it was no explosive. There's no burn marks, but the door itself looks like it was smashed open. You would say kick, but the impact area is far too large for a medium-sized creature to have knocked it down. Not the one that you saw in the camera, anyway.
Yeah, I'm just kind of like, I'm like looking at the markings or anything like that. It's just something large and blunt punched this door open, and I can't tell. I don't think it was it wasn't a punch or a kick. They had some kind of blunt instrument they used to puncture this door.
I'm gonna see if I notice any telltale signs of an SRO or some kind of machinery in the immediate area, I guess.
Are you just checking for a general robot around, or are you checking inside the crime scene, or?
I'm looking around the crime scene just to see, it's like, are there any like gouges in metal that look especially robotic or machined in nature, or like are there any markings on the impact zone of that large smashed place that look like it could be imprinted by some kind of metal instrument?
Okay, so in other words, if there's any like metal paint or marks like that, that's what you're looking for.
Yeah.
Okay. Let me see if you do check the door, and as Kuzon mentioned before, you also don't find any. It's like it was a perfectly round bit of force. There's no indication of different shapes of claws or anything, and you look on the floor and there's no heavy markings or footsteps.
Hey, Kuzon, you're the engineer. You think that hole may have been done by some kind of bunker buster? You know, one of those things that basically has a giant nail shoot through with a lot of force?
Would that be like a big piece of it? I'm like asking, would that be a big piece of equipment that they could, or would that be something that they could hide underneath a cloak?
What piece of equipment are you speaking of?
So like he was talking about some kind of like big, like blunt, what was it that you were just sorry.
Bunker buster, basically a giant nail that shot off with a lot of force and basically smashed through the door, because that would make a perfect circle.
Well, it doesn't look like the center of it. It looks like it was used with a bunker buster. The size of the man and how much robes he was wearing, it's conceivable he could be holding a handheld version of it.
Yeah, but it was
things...
it was thick enough that it couldn't have been. It wasn't like the size of somebody's fist. It's probably bigger.
Also,
like
that thing is probably incredibly heavy.
He was a strong man. And looking over the body, so are all the do the coroner have all like the causes of their death listed?
Yes, as you go around with the augmented reality, you do see that each has a coroner's report on them. Some of them were death by broken necks, others, for instance, one that was clearly impaled on the pole before, death by impalement, but his many bones were still fractured in the process by hitting the back wall. Others were sent up into the ceiling and crashed back down due to the impact areas. Basically, as he mentioned, it's as if somebody used a great amount of force on these people. The only issue is they don't know how. They're all battered and bruised, and could have been someone very strong with a hammer, or...
Kuzon's just like smiling. It's just like, Ataika, this looks like some of your work.
I wasn't here.
Starts listing off evidence why he wouldn't be here.
Thiveron knows I was in the hallway last night.
Yeah, doing something weird with your gun.
Cleaning isn't weird.
Maybe it was Ataika's evil twin brother.
So no
Whispering
bullets.
sensual nothings into your gun barrel is weird.
A bunch of blunt. So it was no bullets. A bunch of blunt damage. So it was probably somebody that was strong. But the size, like, is there a way that I can estimate how tall they are using like the camera and everything like that? Like, if I work on the image.
Well, it probably would be a simple affair. One moment. I need to see.
And in response to your answer, Ash, Thiveron is going to raise his hand and start detecting magic.
Using mysticism, are you? Okay, you use mysticism, and Kuzon, you may use physical science in order to accurately judge how tall and big the person was. Okay, then, let me see. I gotta check my
Not
DC.
doing so hot today.
Alright, Kuzon, you know that the person was at least 6'2" in height, but his build was rather scrawny. And Thiveron, you actually, despite you finding it tough to concentrate, you do feel something definitely magical took place here.
You see Kuzon
there-
he's like moving, waving his arms around, and like I imagine if you have all access to the AR, like to Kuzon, he's just waving his hands in the air, and you only see that he's manipulating an image if you use AR, and he's just like, this guy's kind of a beanpole. 6'2", not that heavy set, it looks like. He definitely must have had some kind of discrete instrument. I'm just trying to think of something you could hide in a cloak that could do this kind of blunt damage.
Ash,
If I
can
use my
1 second. Hang on. Joe, carry on.
if I use my detect magic spell, do I actually pick up any magical auras in the area?
I would think it's. Let me think.
It's any items that are currently there.
Is it any? I would say you could probably detect the leftover, like, magic as well. I would say as well. Let me see. Detect magic. Let me read it. Oh, how many feet is this? 60. Okay. As you're scanning around, you do feel that interference from before. It's definitely... How do you describe it? You definitely know it's not of some element. Well, not common elements anyway, but you do detect something. Off in a corner of the apartment behind a broken table, you sense something from behind it.
Okay.
Sense object.
It's an object. All right. Can I concentrate for another 6 seconds to see if it's if it is enchanted with a spell, or if it's a magic item, or if it's a hybrid item?
Yep, you may. 1 moment. As you concentrate for an extra 6 seconds, you do discover it's... Wait, how much detail do you have? Let me see. Concentrate the same environment, data, so... Yes, it is from a small magic item of caster level 0.
Okay, I'm going to walk up to it and look at it. I'm not going to touch it.
So as you go up, you hear Mo call from behind. The dog may have been onto something. Mo made sure to tell him that it was okay to disturb the crime scene at this point. Everything had been catalogued. But who knows? Many eyes may have missed what one with no eyes couldn't. So in other words,
Thiveron
it's okay to
started
touch the
with
crime
this
scene.
guy.
That's amazing.
So yeah, it's okay to touch the crime scene. In other words,
By the way,
Thiveron just goes, quiet, I'm concentrating. And then goes over and looks at whatever this.
as you put it back, you see the wallpaper behind the table had been scratched and damaged somewhat, and behind it you see a small safe. Like you can see it just behind the wallpaper.
And use identify on it.
Can you cast it? Oh, it's 5 feet.
Yeah,
just
5
see,
feet and a +10 insight bonus to skill checks to identify properties and command words or passwords of items targeted when using this spell.
Okay.
So here's mysticism.
That's plus
39. Nat 20. 30.
I would probably say that you can detect quite a few things around the thing you're doing. Essentially, as you start feeling out, you feel that there's healing within the safe, but also something you sensed before, a spell gem within. And since the safe is closed, but well, it feels like you could probably open it with the right phrases of words.
And the safe's not magical, is it, right? It's just what's inside.
No, yeah, it's what's inside.
Okay, so Thiveron takes the safe and he walks over to Kuzon and says, now, I know that you are skeptical, but there is something magical inside this safe. And while that in itself is my specialty, cracking into this safe is not. I was thinking that maybe you could help me out.
Yeah, open your box.
By the way, since Kuzon mentioned some details about what kind of equipment the guy may have been carrying, can I make a merc check or profession check to figure out if there's any high impact weapons that might fit the bill?
You may make a roll for that if you desire.
You see Kuzon, like, he pushes his ears against the safe, and his like robot arm is like messing with the I don't know what the safe looks like, if it's like a combination safe, but I want to imagine it's like that.
A keypad safe.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, it's like think of it like a small box, essentially. What he pulled out was a small hidden compartment behind wallpaper. He pulled out a thin safe box from it and carried it over to you. Deposit box. Think of it like a deposit box. If you ever had one of those in a bank.
Get me in there.
How would you like to get in there? Would you like to go the loud route of your laser drill? Would you like to do computers to where the keypad is, or up to you?
I'll try not to destroy it. I'd rather roll, computers to try to like do it, like just work on it quietly and not destroy things, even though as much as I want to destroy it.
So as you're working away, Kuzon, Aiden, you know that there's probably some pretty expensive guns that will do this. Stuff that fire out like air pressure and the, things that are designed not to, fire that far in like spaceships that are not meant to be broken through. In other words, guns that are safe for light transport ships. But normally they're quite large, like at least shotgun sized, and they can't be like smaller than that.
Gotcha.
And as for a safe, you mess around with the keypad some, slipping in a wire under the keys, and soon you hear and the safe snaps open.
I'll just do a very dramatic bow and to Thiveron as I back away from the safe.
Thiveron bows back and opens the safe to find out what's inside. Well, obviously it's a spell gem, but so you can get a better look at exactly what spell it can take.
Oh yeah, I'll take your identify from before and tell you in a moment. So essentially, as you open it up, you take out 3 vials of healing serum Mark 1. You take out a slip of raw silver material. You take out 2 hollow grenade Mark 1s. And finally, you take out the spell gem 0 with the spell transfer charge on it.
You into jewelry, Thiveron?
Not in particular. So I got the 3 healing serums, Mark 1, 2 hollow grenades, Mark 1, a spell gem level 0 with a spell transfer quality. And...
Yeah, with a transfer charge on it. That's the spell it holds.
Yeah, the spell, okay.
And of course, the raw silver material. That's 1 bulk for it.
Okay.
So it's like a bar.
I am going to take the silver. I'm going to walk over to Kuzon and say, "Here, I think you deserve this for getting in."
I'm gonna look towards Mo questioningly, like, is it okay if we take these things? They don't seem to be evidence.
What the higher ups don't know, Mo won't tell.
With that, I'm just gonna let the rest of the party split the things they found, and I'm gonna walk towards Mo while everybody else is busy with the safe. So, Mo, I know this isn't technically something that the police and private eyes should be interested in, but do you happen to have information on who their last contractor was before this happened?
Oh, that is also what I was going to mention before. Essentially, the safe also contains a few documents.
No.
Containing, like, basically the extortion racket type stuff.
Never mind then. Looks like we got ourselves a clue.
Those documents, because I can't physically like read them, I guess I'm gonna bring them over to Mo and say, if we're taking the items, this paper, whatever's on it, might help you with your investigation or some investigation, hopefully, and then I'll hand it.
Of course. He takes up the paper and starts flicking through it in a rather speedy way, like do 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 do. Red razors seem to cut people's lives like their name suggests. Blood, trail money. Many suspects. No one, though, however.
What is this? What is this? What is the word? What is this silvery liquid? Can I identify it?
You can. They're basically physical science. Silver.
It's just like a vial full of silver.
No,
A
it's
bar.
basically a brick, like a bar.
Ooh.
Basically
I'm
counts as
kinda like-
1 silver.
Yeah, see, Thiveron pays his debts.
You're gonna see Kuzon like lifts up the bar and like does the thing where you bite it and then put it away.
He's like, yeah.
Yeah.
And nice. So
You know, in case we encounter a vampire, am I right? Those are real.
Does the book have any knowledge about who their last contractor was and what kind of job they did for them?
he starts flipping through it for a second again. A larger gang. Another one of less kind ones. However, something is strange. Seems like their contract was cancelled.
I'm gonna assume that the Red Razors wanted to get paid anyway.
Maybe possible. Maybe gang violence, but for bigger gang, doesn't seem like their MO.
Yeah, this seems too convenient. If this was the larger gang, they wouldn't just send one man after them. They would have made an example out of them.
The old detective is starting to think this may be more personal than simply money.
Yeah, seems like it. Maybe they hurt somebody that their killer was interested in. Have they been doing any kidnapping jobs? Maybe shaking down some small businesses?
He basically like offers out for paper to you, and well, they've been doing it for a while. He mentioned that they probably have many enemies, but can't really single it down to one. Can't see just one person doing this, even if they were on a warpath after a red day.
Wonder why their last contract was cancelled. Guess
Strange.
there's one way to find out.
There's something about the back wall. The kid may have not noticed until now, but the paper the dog ripped off may reveal more than it was meant to. And he like gestures towards the back wall, and you see like as the paper's been lifted off, it did reveal a little something, like barely there, but because it was visual, I couldn't tell you to one. As it was being ripped off, you see there seems to be a impact mark, but it looks too detailed to be something that was thrown. But the rest of the wallpaper is still covering it up.
Ataika, do you mind getting rid of that paper?
Ataika's head kind of cocks to the side, and he proceeds to.
As you rip it off, most of you may, of course, think that some races may all look alike. You can't deny of a striking resemblance of something about this impact mark, and, well, it's like an impact mark of someone you know. In fact, it looks like a picture pressed into the wall of Prava.
Like it. So it's like that scene from Spiders where the cat gets its face mashed into the ductwork, and it's just
how do I explain this?
Its face.
It's like a like a burn carving. Like basically it's a picture, but done in like whatever impact power was used.
That's a striking resemblance.
I don't know much about Prava species, but do they tend to have the same features?
Like, oh wait, you asking the party?
Oh,
or
I'm asking
me?
I'm asking in character.
Oh, okay.
Kuzon, would you know?
Kuzon shrugs while he's ball in the back of his head. He's googling it.
If you do Google it, you would know that like all races, there may be subtle differences, but his race does have things that are different. For instance, Prava's like feelers, his whiskers, are rather unique to him, since most don't really point up in the direction like his do, or the way that his like chest, like his chest and his like chitinous plate combine, like all these small little details.
Yeah. Okay, but and if I bring up a picture of Prava's ID, it's not literally Prava then. It's pressed to the wall.
It doesn't look like it's literally Prava, but it does look like a picture of Prava.
Oh,
Like-
okay, so it does closely resemble him.
Yes.
Did Prava ever mention having, you know, more, shall we say, close family?
As far as I'm concerned, he his egg hatched in that meteorite. He has an alibi. I know that he's been in space for a long, long time.
Well,
the only people that knew of Prava's existence was the guy who delivered supplies every month or so.
you're thinking back a bit too much. I mean, these events are recent, and we know where Prava has been. He's been with us. He's been in space or on Akiton, so there's no way it was him.
Yeah, I'm just trying to figure out who else would know him.
This old bot may not have all the answers, but it seems more like a calling card. As if whoever is here did this knew your friend may be coming back.
I don't like that.
Perhaps Prava might be able to give us some more info. Maybe he even knows who this person is. He's back in the hideout, though, so... Haven't seen him since last night when he freaked out when he saw the food.
Thiveron is gonna walk up to Aiden and tell him I was communing with Talavet, and she told me that technology is not the only thing at play here. So be prepared for that possibility.
Well, you're the expert on magic. Can't say I know much about it myself, so I'll be trusting your gut feeling on this one.
This is just, I'm not necessarily an investigator. I'm not used to this kind of work. I just thought you should know.
Yeah, don't worry about it. We're all pretty new to this, I'd say. I mean, I get paid to kill people, not, you know, find out how they got killed.
Thiveron's gonna nod.
At any rate, it seems like the rain didn't do us much favor when it came to picking up clues. Looks like we're not gonna be able to find much else. Nice job on that find, by the way. Would have taken us probably forever, may not have even found it ourselves.
Thanks. Also, would you mind guiding me to these impressions on the wall made by some sort of weapon? I might be able to draw some sort of magical insight.
Right. It is kind of a mess, and Aiden looks at his feet and he imagines that the area is quite cluttered and littered and you can easily just trip up and fucking break your neck down here. I'm gonna put a hand on his shoulder and I'm gonna guide him to the imprints so he can get a feel for them.
Yeah, can I take a mysticism check to see if these could be from a magic weapon of some sort or a spell?
You may make a mysticism check, yes.
God! It's my
Today's not
third
your
roll
day,
under
man. I
5
think
of
you need
the
more
day.
of
No,
Morano's cooking.
I should have saw my own future today.
As you start scanning around, you do know that it's exactly the same sort of power that was used before. You know that. The same sort of power that was used to get in here was apparently accurate enough to make this image. Just the impact didn't destroy the wallpaper, it just made the impact image behind it.
So, is that basically telling me that it is some sort of a magical weapon as opposed to a more conventional weapon?
It is definitely of magical quality, whatever caused this.
Whatever we're looking for, it is magical. I can't pin down exactly what it is. Something that I haven't seen. Might be from a weapon, it might be a spell.
Well,
Has its hands folded. It's like, are some 3D artists with too much spare time during a murder?
I do have some contacts around the area that deal with other weapons and whatnots that have to do with magic. Perhaps we can ask around, see if we can't narrow down what kind of magic could have been used here. If it's something racial, we might be able to figure out the race at least of our attacker, if nothing else. Narrow down the search.
Yes, it might help us track them.
As you say that, Mo speaks up. This old detective still has some leads to carry up on. Especially now we have this document. He wishes for others luck, hoping they won't find their own trace of what's happening.
As he says that, I'm gonna hand him back the papers because he gave them to me, and I'm gonna say, good luck, Mo, stay in touch.
He gives a nod and heads on out of a crime scene. By the way, you do get a message on your phone that says you are officially on the investigation as deputies of Mo.
Cheeky bastard.
Now, let's see. Kuzon, you did want to do something since you mentioned to go and check on your baby.
My baby. Well, that's the thing. I have to get in contact with the my boss, my old boss,
Mhm.
and be like, "Hey, I got somebody for you."
You hear on the other side, you hear, oh, I see. You've got somebody else, have you?
Yeah, he's strong. He knows that he's good with his hands. He doesn't ask a lot of questions.
I see. Well, we have been lacking since you left in the technological department. I could use a bit of helping hands if you recommend him.
Now, let's not. He's just like, and like you see Kuzon like just like let's not get a little bit too carried away. He's not a replacement for yours truly, but
Wow.
I've spent some time schooling him on a few of the principles, and I think he'd be a good fit.
Well, of course. No one can ever take your place, Kuzon. I'll take a look at him now. I'll just tell him to come on by, and if he wishes, if he can't get here on his own, then of course he can just have his pay backlogged until, so I can pay for his transport.
I'll take care of that. Don't worry.
Okay.
I'm saying this as I'm in one hand just like trying to figure out how much a taxi would cost.
So about 150.
Okay. Yeah, I have the spare funds. I'll contact our friend Theodus and let him know that I'm ready. I've spoken to the boss and I'm ready to arrange his ride.
I see. By this point, the rain would start calming down, and as you call Theodus, he's like, you can hear the sound of a bar in the background, and he's like, "Oh, yeah, okay. Where do you want to meet? I mean, I don't have any possessions to take with me, but
I'll forward him a okay. I'll forward him 160 credits and give him the like cords and just be like, you seem like you have some stuff to work out, just like noting the background. This is where you're going. These are the credits you'll need to get yourself a ship to deliver you there. Have some Theodus time.
I don't know what to say. I wish you were here so I could hug you. You've done so much.
No, I gotta look out. Us little guys, we gotta look out for each other, eh? Don't want to be under the boot of somebody else, but I'll be here. So if you need anything else before you head off, if that left knee of yours was acting a little bit shaky, if you'd like me to take another look at it,
Well, I guess one more time just to say goodbye, You've done a lot for me, and Not a lot of people in my life have been that kind. Thank you.
I think you're roboting out.
Oh, I am?
At least for me.
Sounds fine to me.
Yeah, I hear him.
Here, I'll reconnect.
Alright.
Might be a me problem.
So yeah, that's what he says to you, Kuzon.
Yeah, I'll send him what he needs, and I guess at some point during downtime before he takes off, I'll give him the once over, and I'll just be like, I imagine just like whispers, and it's like, all right, so don't. It's like, what? It's like, Rusty. Rusty's a good guy. Don't try to start conversation about the wife with him though. He's very, very sensitive about that. Shanks. Nobody talks about Shanks. Don't make eye contact with Shanks.
Why is he called Shanks?
Some people are changed when they get on the outside.
I see. Well, thanks for the tips. You've really helped me a lot. And he's like looking down at you for a moment before suddenly hugging you. Like, you've helped me so much. Thank you.
Kuzon's like frozen. It's almost like he plays dead, and he's just like doesn't know how to respond. He's just like,
He finally lets go of you. It's like, I better get going. I gotta find a ship and get off station.
yeah, keep in touch if you need anything or you have any questions. You get a miscellaneous issue with the laser drill. Bring me up. Be happy to help.
I'll make sure to do that. Thanks again. It's meant a lot. And he like turns around, gets his shoulder bag, and starts heading off towards like the station, like the arms of the station.
Kuzon's a good boy. Maybe a bit
Kuzon's
too
such
good.
a good gecko boy.
Maybe a bit
And I
too-
also want to take some of the spare energy weapons that we have. I think because we
Mhm.
recently got from those guards, we got a couple of those guns, right? They're not like
Yeah.
especially energy efficient for our use, but I want to turn them into some automated defenses for like the loading area in the front.
So essentially, from reading up on the what ship you currently have, you could downgrade the armor to Mark 1 armor, and then you would have enough space for drift engine and to upgrade either the ship's hull or get 1 second, let me see the expansion bay. What's the magic? Since one of you did mention, and you could probably get your magic laboratory as well.
So here's the thing. Pitch to Kuzon. What's an arcane workstation?
It's
He's
where
like, okay.
It's a
where
workstation,
Dogo,
but for magic and hybrid items.
it's where Dogo can do voodoo magic shit. He rolls
Ah,
goals and
yeah.
sacrifices chickens there.
I can make us
I
series
know.
of healings. I can make us magic items. Anything that's
Can make
magical,
seals.
I can make.
You guys haven't messed with fusions yet, and they look awesome.
The fuck is a fusion?
It's basically like weapon enchantments from Pathfinder.
Ooh!
Mhm.
But you can only have 2 fusions, I think. Otherwise, the magic fields start interfering with each other and canceling each other out.
Oh,
Yeah,
basically you
it's,
can't cross the beans. Gotcha.
It's
Yeah.
based on also your item level. For instance, you can have I think 2 enchantments, but you can basically have they have to add up to the item level. So if you
Yeah.
have 2, you can either go
Yeah.
half and half or one stronger than the other sort of deal. And you also can have seals, which are basically transferable enchantments, where you just take them off of your weapon and then attach them to another.
Kuzon's like sitting here with Thiveron, like talking over the plans. He's like, okay, so this is the place where you sit down and do the voodoo whammy jammy.
Yes,
like-
if
you
that's
need a
your way
comfy
of
place to
describing it,
sit.
then
To like wave your hands around.
no. Just this list is fine. Trust me, Kuzon, you will be thankful we have this station.
I mean, I guess we could take some of the extra like metal scrap out of the hull from here, and then we can move it there, and then upgrade this, and then get the then.
So I'm imagining that I'm just getting this haphazardly built scrap version of what a normal magic workshop would look like, because
Hey, don't worry about it. It works out because you cannot see it.
I imagine it'd be.
I'm just like I guess it will work.
It's okay, you can see
all
how
it would be is it'd be a regular workstation, and but Kuzon still doesn't understand what any of this is for, so he literally just like on the wall, just like painted it on the wall. It just goes Thiveron's happy place, and then like a smiley face emoji.
Oh,
It's funny because Thiveron can't see it.
Yep.
That's what makes it funny.
actually,
Kuzon will make you everything, and then yeah, he just to be a huge dick. That's what he does. Nobody, and it's like he doesn't mention it to Thiveron that there's just the thing on his wall. This Thiveron's happy place, smiley face.
Like I just see Thiveron just like happily working away too, just
By the way,
totally unaware that he's being mocked.
by the way, as Kuzon does that, I want to write something else on the other end as well, and I write down, this is where the magic happens.
so everybody's just like making this little area.
So think of it
Thiveron
like
is just
this.
like, yeah, I got my
If
stuff.
Thiveron broke his leg and his leg was in a cast, you know, everybody's gonna write nice comments and stuff for him. This is basically our version. The dog is blind, quickly bully him.
Yeah.
I mean, the thing is with Kuzon is he's still like, he likes Thiveron, but his eyes glaze over whenever you guys talk about magical stuff, and he's like, I don't get any of this. And like from Kuzon's perspective, is just like magic is a word when you're talking about science, but you don't know what you're doing.
By the way, I don't know if True Sight or something like that is a thing in this system, and because I don't know if at some point Thiveron can actually see things, but it's gonna be hilarious to see his reaction as we just keep adding more and more messages to his work table.
I think there are spells and stuff, but Vlakins that believe that they help preserve their way of life by not using cybernetics and spells to see. They tend to feel very strongly about that part of their culture.
Okay,
so
that
it's
makes
not likely
sense.
that he would even do it, even if he could.
Okay, speaking of interesting topics, how do you explain color to somebody who's always been blind? Or how do you explain music to somebody who could never hear?
You just gotta say, imagine it's like your tongue, but it's your eyeballs, and when your eyeball looks at things, the eyeball taste looks different. There, I did it.
That was an explanation, all right.
Yeah, I don't know about
That's
that one,
Kuzon's
man.
explanation. That's Kuzon trying to explain to Thiveron what colors are. All right, so imagine that everything. It's kind of like taste, right? Where like everything, like has a different taste.
I just imagine Thiveron
then-
never asking for this information either, but Kuzon sitting
No,
here
you
like
know what
just telling
happened?
him
Kuzon was just
while he's
drunk
working
again.
on building the workshop.
Kuzon was drunk, Thiveron was there, and Aiden said, hey Kuzon, you should explain to Thiveron what seeing is like, and then he fucked off.
And Thiveron's like, no.
Just no. I just want to mention, Kuzon, somebody offers you with this deal that you're making, like if you take the deal right now, I'll even throw a pest control system.
Kuzon just like leans in. I'm listening.
You know, for your little nooks and crannies and your vents. Yeah, we got a system that will just blaze them out with plasma fire, just poof.
I don't think Prava would appreciate that very much.
Here's my question. Since we left Akiton, am I still finding bugs in places inside of my ship? Like, are they still running around in there?
You do hear a few chitters now and again, but you're not sure if it's that or the ship creaking.
Or Prava snoring?
Or Prava snoring, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, as long as as long as I have manual control over it, I wouldn't want, you know, sometimes I'm the one crawling around in the vents.
Of course, it's manual control, not hooked up to anything, so no one can, you know, hack you. It's an actual button, and once you press it, then they activate all of them.
You have yourself a deal, friend.
Lovely. Thank you so much. So yeah, that's a little extra thing you can get along with your stuff.
I can imagine it's kind of like part of the defense system.
Yeah, so
Sort of
if you do
package.
this,
Yeah.
you're getting a drift drive. Interesting.
So basically, next time our ship gets invaded by space huggers and by fucking aliens, Kuzon, hit the button.
Right. Is that all you guys wanted to do for this session and talk about rest during the week?
Yeah, that sounds
Because
good.
yeah, because not sure if we can do much about Prava moving. the
I'm
story
gonna
forward,
say that
you
we
know?
probably need a few days to look around for clues and do some legwork to figure out how we can follow up on what we discovered, you know, on the scene.
Yeah.
Yeah, Kuzon, while you guys are doing that, Kuzon would take the opportunity to like look over the up changes to the ship. He's like barking orders at just blue collar workers and stuff like that, and they're like and like he's just getting into arguments where he's like, well, the book says that this decoupling has to go into, and then Kuzon's like, wrong, this is how I want it, I'm paying you. He's just like totally letting it go to his head.
If I was
Normally
an
he's a very
artist,
chill.
if I was an artist, this is the kind of picture I would paint. A giant stack of metal boxes with stuff and whatnot. Kuzon on top of them like an evil overlord with his finger down yelling at people. So the little people below him are crying and hauling equipment left and right hurriedly.
And then, like, around the corner is Thiveron's happy place, where the magic happens. He's
Yeah,
just
this is where the
blissfully
magic
unaware.
happens.
That's so funny. That's so mean. That's like the meanest thing, I think. That's like the just like silently poking fun at a disabled person is probably about the meanest thing I've ever done in a tabletop RPG.
Hey, you may think Aiden is a racist boy, but at least he doesn't bully the blind.
Yeah.
I mean, I like to think of it as a good-natured prank, but
By the way, Yosh, since most of the mercs are probably gonna be busy and Aiden hasn't been back in a while, I'm gonna say that for his days there, he probably spent a lot of time with the kids, just hanging out, having fun with them, and catching up with some of his old merc buddies.
You know what? I think that you will do it anyway. You will level up. Level
Hey!
3.
Oh, cool.
Sweet.
I think I'll count as a very cool investigation that you all did together, all going from different avenues. I'll count it towards the RP XP.
Yeah, that was pretty
And it
fun.
was
We all
very
played
cool.
to our strengths. Thiveron checked out the smells, he checked out the magic shit. Kuzon handled the engineering part. Ataika helped out with the heavy lifting. Good stuff.